to deal with.
Okay, I need you to sit down for this, because what palace watchers are calling the most dramatic royal moment in living memory just unfolded behind closed doors at Windsor Castle. A king, on his knees, in front of his daughter-in-law, a queen consort, forced out of the palace in front of witnesses, and the person who delivered that final blow? Princess Anne, the late queen's favorite daughter, the most respected royal in the family, the woman nobody expected to move. But when she did move, she moved with the kind of precision only a lifetime inside the monarchy can teach you. I am not exaggerating. Insiders are describing this as the most significant symbolic power shift inside the British monarchy since the death of Queen Elizabeth. And the craziest part? The British public was never told it happened. It was all done behind closed doors, under a total media blackout, in the middle of the night. And by the time the sun came up, Camilla was gone. Princess Anne has been the quiet backbone of the royal family for decades. She is the hardest working royal in the entire family, the most trusted, the most disciplined, the one the late queen leaned on more than anyone else. And for years, she has reportedly been watching Camilla with growing concern. Palace watchers say Anne never trusted Camilla, never fully accepted her, never believed she belonged at the heart of the monarchy. She watched Camilla expand her influence after the queen's death. She watched her push for more ceremonial roles. And she waited. When the moment came to do something about it, Anne was the one who finally pulled the trigger. Witnesses describe her walking into Clarence's house with a calm, almost cold authority. She reportedly told Camilla directly that her presence would not be required at the ceremony that night. No explanation, no apology. Just a clear institutional message. You are not welcome. And Camilla, for the first time in her entire royal career, had nothing to say back. But Princess Anne did not do this alone. This entire thing was reportedly masterminded by Prince William, and the guy has been playing chess inside the palace while everyone else was playing checkers. Over the past several months, William has been systematically restructuring the power flow inside the royal household. Budget allocations that used to run through Camilla's office? Frozen. Royal patronages that had expanded under her influence? Reassigned? Correspondence to the king? Rerouted through William's team first, and then William made one critical move that changed everything. He brought in Princess Anne, because William is the future of the monarchy, but Anne is its moral authority. William plans, Anne executes, and together, they reportedly did what no one inside the palace thought was possible. They forced a sitting queen consort out of her own home. Meanwhile, just after midnight, Catherine arrived at Windsor alone. No entourage, no protection officer convoy, no press. Just her, walking into the palace in the middle of the night, carrying a sealed envelope. Waiting for her, in a candlelit chamber inside the castle, was King Charles. But here is the detail that gets me. Charles was wearing no sovereign insignia, no crown, no robes, no ceremonial dress. Just a man. Preparing to make the biggest symbolic gesture of his entire reign. And when Catherine walked through that door, what happened next is the reason palace insiders are still whispering about this story weeks later. Because a sitting king of the United Kingdom did something kings simply do not do. He dropped to one knee. Charles, a sitting monarch, on his knees, in front of his daughter-in-law. And according to multiple witnesses, he pressed a plain ring into her palm. A ring that had belonged to the late Queen Elizabeth's most private collection. Not a crown jewel, not a ceremonial heirloom. A quiet, personal ring that only the Queen's closest staff had ever seen. And then he said 6 words. 6 words that reportedly brought Catherine to tears. You are the future I failed to protect. Let that sit for a second. I cannot get over that. A king, on his knees, telling his daughter-in-law that she is the future of the monarchy, he could not save himself. This is not a movie. This is what palace watchers say actually happened that night at Windsor. And it was not a legal coronation, but symbolically, emotionally, institutionally, something profound was shifting. Catherine carries the monarchy's moral authority now. Not him, not Camilla, her. And then the palace dropped another bomb, discovered in the Windsor archives, a letter, written by the late Queen Elizabeth herself in her final years, hidden, sealed, known only to the most senior palace aides, and in that letter, the Queen named Catherine as the royal family's final safeguard. Not Charles, not William, not even Anne. Catherine, a woman without royal blood, a woman who married into the institution. The Queen, who understood the British monarchy better than any living figure, had apparently decided years ago that Catherine was the one person who could actually save the crown. Palace watchers say Princess Anne has known about this letter for years, which is why she moved the way she did. She was not acting on her own judgment. She was executing her mother's final wish. Camilla reportedly fled Clarence House within hours of Anne's confrontation. No guards, no press statement, no official briefing. Witnesses describe her as looking shaken, disoriented, unable to speak to anyone. For 2 full days, Charles refused to take her calls. 2 full days. The woman he married, the woman he defended for decades through scandal after scandal, the woman he fought to make queen consort against the will of the British public, and he refused to take her calls. Sources close to palace operations say she spent those 48 hours alone, with no access to her husband, no statement from the palace, and no explanation for what had just happened to her inside her own home. And then came the final blow. Inside the palace's Hall of Matriarchs, Camilla's portrait was quietly taken down and replaced with a portrait of Catherine. No announcement, no explanation, no press release. Just a wordless institutional statement that said everything the palace could not say out loud. Camilla's era was over, and it ended in the most humiliating way possible. Not with a scandal, not with a press conference, just a portrait, quietly removed, replaced, done. For a woman who had spent her entire adult life fighting to be accepted by the royal family, it was the cruelest ending possible. Her face, erased from the very hall meant to honor the women of the monarchy, and the takeover was not even finished yet. Since that night, palace insiders report that Catherine has quietly been reshaping royal operations from the inside, with Princess Anne standing guard over every major decision. Royal patronages are reportedly being reassigned to Catherine's office. Correspondence to the king is filtering through her team first. Senior aides are now reportedly reporting to Catherine before they report to Charles. And Princess Anne? She has not left Catherine's side in weeks. Camilla is out. Catherine is in. William is running the whole thing from behind the scenes. And Princess Anne is making sure nobody moves against Catherine while the transition is still fragile. This is the most dramatic royal moment in decades. A king on his knees. A queen consort forced out of her own home, a daughter-in-law being handed the monarchy's moral authority, a future Prince of Wales pulling every string from behind the scenes, and a Princess Royal finally, publicly, doing what her mother would have wanted her to do all along. Palace watchers are saying this is the moment the British monarchy chose its own future. Anne executed it. William architected it. Catherine was handed the crown's moral authority. Charles finally bent the knee. And the people who were pushed out of that room are not coming back. Which part of this story blew your mind? Princess Anne forcing Camilla out? The kneeling? The 6 words? The letter from Queen Elizabeth? The portrait replacement? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe to Inside the Palace Wall.